Get across to Rahul Yadav, the founder and former CEO of Housing.com. Rahul, appreciate you joining in. We completely buy the statement given by SoftBank on the fact that it was a difference in terms of what Arora expected in leading the company and succeeding Mr. Son. But do you think that this was, in a way, a case of Arora being bitter about the whole scandal, and now that the allegations are completed, he's been given a clean sheet, he's bitter and can no longer continue?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Okay, Rahul, what I want to ask you is that yesterday Rahul was given a clean sheet about the allegations of and investors raising questions about his compensation, about his qualifications. He has been given a clean sheet, but do you think that the fact that he has stepped down just a day after the clean sheet could be a case of Rahul being bitter about the issue, bitter about the scandal, and no longer wanting to continue at the helm?
See, I don't know. That's, I think, their internal thing. I think SoftBank, thinks in terms of decades and all. Let's say, I think their investments are not doing that good. I think they should have given some time to maybe Nikesh. Those investments are like decades and multi-decades long kind of bets. So if investments are not doing good, nothing is doing good right now in India. So I think it was more of a panic. I don't know.
So would you say that, taking in mind the fact that, and as you said, you believe that investments and the portfolio companies aren't doing well, you think that it was Nikesh's decision to thereby, as a result of the companies not doing well, exit before things got worse?
See, again, I don't know, why, what happened internally, but from outside, I think both parties should have been patience enough. If things are not going good, I think it's a temporary situation. The same thing happened at housing. Let's say something is not going good, you get panic and then you take decisions that are not correctable. In ventures and in in funds also ups and downs, I think keep coming, and one should be. I think when you look from SoftBank always talks in decades. So I don't think they should have taken decisions for.
Okay, Rahul, I know it's a different situation and you were in a completely different position when you left Housing.com. But is this in a way a sense of deja vu for you?
In sense what?
Is this in a way a sense of nostalgia or a sense of deja vu for you? Does this remind you of the time when you put in your papers from Housing.com and had to leave?
Yeah, I was working day and night for 3 years for my venture, I was all in. I had given my time and everything to the venture, and then let's say, they have taken this call, and Nikesh also I think had invested his entire saving in the SoftBank. Recently there was a news 500 million or something he invested in the SoftBank, so he was kind of all in. I think, and the same thing. I think he understands my pain, I think, now much better.
Okay, we don't have Mr. Arora talking right now, but I'm sure he could perhaps understand your pain, Rahul. But just hang in there with us. We also have Gautam Gandhi, Google's business development head, joining in now. Gautam, do you believe that this represents a larger issue of there being lack of clarity, lack of stability in angel investors, venture investors, and PE players that are looking at the entire startup ecosystem?
No, I think first of all, thank you for putting me on the show, and I really appreciate I had an opportunity to also interact with Nikesh, while I was in India. I think, the conspiracy theory is what's exciting to sort of think about and project. But I think, SoftBank has a history of investing and being patient in general. So I don't think it's a question of patience. When Nikesh left Google, we were also very surprised. He was a very top position at Google, and then he went to SoftBank. So I think you never count Nikesh out. I think he has something up his sleeve, and he will surprise us. He can never be counted out.
Okay, but answering, I want to understand, Rahul, I'll come to you for that question. Does this represent, housing.com, SoftBank, completely different issues, yes, but does this represent some sense of lack of certainty within organizations, lack of stability or lack of direction going ahead?
See, when I talked to Nikesh, he said he plans to stay at SoftBank for rest of his life. That was the statement, because I was worried if he was like becoming the majority shareholder in housing, I mean like a significant shareholder, and so is he planning to stay? So he said yes, he's planning to stay rest of his life, like with SoftBank and all. And I think from outside they look like the investments are not doing good, and they have taken really large bet in India. I think it's more related to the market. I don't think he has taken any wrong decision and all. And I think. I mean, keep calm. I would say they should have kept.
They should have maintained some more stability. Gautam, could this have been handled differently? Come in on what Rahul just said. Could this have been handled slightly differently?
Well, we've been hearing rumors for a while that there was something, and I had, heard rumors of some cultural clash, and very surprised, in a Japanese sort of culture for Nikesh taken over. But he's an amazing people person, and we've the same thing was said when he was at Google. He was the first sort of super senior Indian executive as well, managing the entire sales team. So it was a little surprising how it happened. But again, if you look back at history, the same thing happened in his entire career when he joined Google and when he left Google. So every time his departures have always led to something new, something bigger, and every time they have been in this sort of sudden sort of way. When I remember when we were at Google, he also said the same thing. I'm gonna work here the rest of my life. Why would I go anywhere else? So to hear that sentiment, it sort of shows the amount of dedication that he puts in when he joins in a place. So I think I'm sure he's gonna have something very exciting, and. Same thing.
I'm sure. Gautam, but since you mentioned how it was like working with Nikesh, you worked very closely with him. It is always concerning when the investors that you worked with raise questions on your compensation, raise questions on your qualification. I understand that it could be a case of, wanting to take over and Son not being ready to step down. But do you think that this, and this is the question that I asked Rahul as well, do you think that he was just bitter and then didn't want to continue with SoftBank anymore?
I don't know. I don't know, and don't speculate. But I think that what I've seen is he always usually lines up something next soon, and I think we'll hear something pretty quickly in a month or two or something about what's next for him. And I think it'll be exciting. I would love to work with him again.
You would love to work with him again, but you're at Google. You could leave speculation that he's coming to Google, Gautam.
And I'm sure Rahul would love to work with him again too.
Okay, so let's not speculate. Then closing comments. Rahul, coming to you, what would be the immediate concern? You said that the portfolio companies that SoftBank has invested in are not doing well. It is a challenging time for startups, yes, but what are the immediate concerns that portfolio companies will have and that SoftBank needs to address immediately?
See, so SoftBank took the biggest bet. I think they were the largest investor in India. They announced $10 billion fund. I mean, if you remove the Flipkart, I think you could have bought at that time the entire Indian internet, ecosystem in $10 billion. So they had, given very big hopes, and they invested also in last 1.5 years. You see, they invested in Snapdeal, Ola, Housing, a lot of the hundreds of $1 million checks they've written, I think if they back out, I think the Indian and these companies are already at a certain scale. They already have certain cash burn, and if they are not supported, I think they all can they will have tough time. All these companies. So I think SoftBank should work with these companies closely and try to help them understand their problem.
Rahul, would you say that SoftBank has been too aggressive on India and that they will, or would you say that now after Nikesh stepping down, they should rethink their strategy?
I think they were aggressive on India, and because, they have seen returns in China, like the Alibaba story, and they got when Alibaba did IPO. I mean, it's like $70 billion they made, and so they didn't want to miss India. And but I think that India is a slow elephant. It takes like 15 years to build company here, and if you are investing $100 million in a company at just $150 million valuation, and the company is burning that cash every year, within like 2 years the company is gonna get over. And in India it takes 15 years to build a company. So I think the biggest mistake that's happening right now is by the end of third year, most of the companies are diluted to 90% in India, and they still need to dilute 30-40% year on year for next 10 years. So.
Okay, Gautam, before I come to you for closing comments, Rahul, again, different situation, yes, but you have been in a similar predicament where you founded a company, it was your baby, and then you pretty much had to completely step away. Not the exact same situation for Nikesh, but as you said, he told you once that he would like to stay on for the rest of his life. What would be your words of advice to him on how he handles the next coming days or next coming years? Rahul, can you hear me? Your words of advice to Nikesh right now in such a time. Okay, I think we've lost Rahul on the line. Gautam, I'll come to you for what exactly do you think would be the immediate challenges that SoftBank needs to address, and what specifically would be the unfinished task or the immediate challenge that the new replacement, if at all there is one, will need to take in for India?
Well, I think the new person is going to have some big shoes to fill. He was the sort of face of SoftBank in India at least, and globally. So I actually, and also the way it was handled and everything, I would now want to be the one to sort of take over. I think it's going to be a very tough situation. But, in time, all these things will pan out and do fine. SoftBank's a very successful company and obviously has a bright future ahead. And
Gautam, would it be crucial for SoftBank to look at getting a replacement from within the company rather than bringing someone from outside, just to keep that stability for portfolio companies?
Well, Nikesh had brought in a lot of people with him. I'm actually curious to see what happens to all those people. Will they stay or will they step up?
No, that's a broader issue. But
that'll be really interesting to see what happens.
Do you think that there is someone within the company that, I'm not asking you to speculate, but is there other contenders here that you think would be worthy of that job?
No, I think it's going to go back to Masa. I think he's going to be taking over now.
All right, Gautam Gandhi and Rahul Yadav, appreciate you joining in on the show.